Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center of Excellence here at Howard University. I am Hugh Mighty, Dr. Hugh Mighty. I'm the Senior Vice President for Health Affairs here at Howard University. It is my distinct pleasure to not only welcome you all here, but it is my pleasure indeed to introduce Mayor Muriel Bowser, the 7th elected mayor of Washington, D.C. She has a strong record of creating bold urban policy agendas, making tough decisions in a high-stakes environment, and shaping a diverse economy. Mayor Bowser is committed to an equal agenda. She has made significant investments in health equity initiatives, most notably in this Centers of Excellence here at Howard University. Through her support, we have implemented 5 centers of excellence in trauma and violence prevention, women's health, sickle cell disease, behavioral health, and oral health. The Centers of Excellence here focuses on implementing innovative, measurable, and sustainable programs, outreach initiatives, and clinical research with special attention to health disparities. We also look at social determinants of health. Through the centers, we're improving health outcomes for our most vulnerable, underserved district residents. For example, since inception, the Oral Health Center of Excellence has provided urgent oral health care to over 1,000 underserved residents of the District of Columbia. Our Trauma and Violence Prevention Center of Excellence has engaged over 100 district youth in violence prevention education and mentorship through its multiple programs spread across the city. This would not be possible without Mayor Bowser's health equity vision and her support. On behalf of President Frederick and the Howard University community, I would like to thank you for your ongoing support and look forward to continuing the partnership to ensure that all district residents have the opportunity to achieve their highest level of health. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Muriel Bowser to the Center of Excellence.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Mighty, for that introduction. And we are here to talk about some very good news, and it's always our pleasure to be here at Howard University, and we get to celebrate with being in this building, in this room, Centers of Excellence that we made a really significant investment in as a city with Howard University, in addition to supporting our joint vision of a new hospital on Georgia Avenue at Howard University. So with that, it is important that we all have great teams in place to make that happen. I like to acknowledge a few of my team who are here. Chief of Staff, Lindsay Parker. We'll give Lindsay a round of applause. The City Administrator, Kevin Donahue. The Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, Lindsay Apia. Chris Rodriguez, the Director of HCMA. Steve Walker, the Director of the Mayor's Office on Talent and Appointments. Some of my always and forever team members. Our former, let me get it right, Chief Medical Examiner Roger Mitchell, Dr. Mitchell, who's here. Rashad Young, the former city administrator for the district. And Dr. LaQuandra Nesbitt, our former doctor. And Dr. Frederick is trying to get in the building. And Dr. Frederick, our forever team member. I think he's a real short timer, so it's good to see Dr. Frederick and congratulate him on his wonderful tenure as the 17th president of Howard University. Give Dr. Frederick a big round of applause. So should I make my announcement, Dr. Frederick, or do you want to make remarks? Okay, all right, fantastic. It's a goodie. These are some good ones. So today I have the pleasure of making two personnel announcements of two wonderful people who are going to join my cabinet to help impact the lives of DC residents and lead the Departments of Health, DC Health, and the Department of Youth and Rehabilitation Services. We decided to make this announcement here at the Centers of Excellence because we recognize that it really is a whole of government interdisciplinary approach that will allow us to solve big problems for DC residents. And those are the types of challenges that DC Health and DYRS work on every single day. So the Centers of Excellence, a partnership between us and Howard University, are tailored to the specific needs of our community. And one of those needs that requires a whole of government approach is our effort to reduce gun violence. So I want to specifically highlight the ongoing work of the Trauma and Violence Prevention Center of Excellence. We have spoken before about approaching gun violence as a public health issue, and that is exactly what the team here is able to do, informed by our healthcare partners, community partners, and practitioners, like trauma surgeons who sadly know better than anyone the horrific effects of guns on the human body and on our community. So I'm proud to welcome as the next health director for Washington, D.C., Dr. Ayanna Bennett. Thank you, Ayanna Bennett. Dr. Bennett is a healthcare and public health executive with more than 20 years of experience in clinical practice, clinical service design, system integration, and quality improvement. Dr. Bennett most recently served as the Chief Health Equity Officer and Director of the San Francisco Department of Public Health's Office of Health Equity. Her work included a focus on long-term population-based initiatives like the Black African American Health Initiative, which sought to address the health disparities of San Francisco's African American residents. During her tenure at the San Francisco Department of Health, Dr. Bennett also worked as a part-time clinician while maintaining a private pediatric practice in the East Bay. And today we are very, very excited to welcome her as the DC Health Director. Give her another round of applause. We are also excited to welcome Sam Abbott as the Acting Director of the Department of Youth and Rehabilitation Services. Give Sam a big round of applause. Director Abbott has decades of experience in public sector administration and expertise in leading juvenile justice programs. He most recently served as the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Juvenile Services, where he was responsible for the management and operation of the state's juvenile justice system, including support services, operations, intake, probation, supervision, detention, and the treatment of committed youth in 11 youth centers throughout Maryland. He chaired the Maryland Juvenile Justice Reform Council, a role which he was charged, where he was charged with identifying and making recommendations to mitigate risks that contribute to young people having contact with the justice system. And today, we are very, very proud to welcome Director Abbott to Washington, D.C. Give him another round of applause. So let me also thank Interim Director Trey Stanback for his leadership at DYRS. Where's Trey? Trey, thank you for stepping up. And as well, I want to thank the whole team at DC Health, including Dr. Lewis, who who, we convinced to stay with us a really long time after she wanted to retire. And Keith, I want to thank you for also managing the day-to-day operations at DC Health until Dr. Bennett begins her service in July. So with that, I want to let you hear from the candidates, but I first want to recognize that we have been joined by former mayor and council member for Ward 7 and the leader of the council's health equity work, Vincent Gray. Please acknowledge Vincent Gray. So with that, Dr. Bennett, why don't you join us for a few remarks, and then we'll hear from Sam.
Well, hello, DC. I am very happy to be here. There was a brief moment they weren't sure I was going to move, but I am going to move. I will be here. I look forward to coming to a community that is so focused on the same issues that I care about, to work for a mayor who has prioritized something I've spent my career on. Health equity is not really just about us being aware. You have to get past that part to actually be willing to actually make changes. And being in an environment where that's true, I think having the centers of excellence, having Howard University and all of the city partners take that whole government approach means that that work that I care about is actually going to move forward. So I'm really excited to have that happen, and I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
And Sam Abbott.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. It's really an honor to serve here in Washington, D.C. in your administration. And, I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, just south of here, and spent the better part of my professional career just north of here in Maryland. So I feel like now I'm coming to the diamond in the middle. And I think it's wonderful. I really appreciate the opportunity to continue working in the field of juvenile services and juvenile justice. I think this is very important work. I know that we have challenges, but I know that our team is up to that challenge, and I'm very much looking forward to becoming a DC resident soon as well, and getting to know everybody over the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we have time for a few questions. Any questions, press questions, and any community questions? Yes, sir.
Off-topic question.
Okay.
What consideration have you given to releasing the MPD footage of the Alante Scott shooting that took place in February?
If we have a protocol for releasing body-worn camera, and I will check in on that. Yep.
Also off topic, it's hazy outside.
Yes.
What can you tell us that people should be doing in Washington? What is the situation here?
Sure. So we have issued, Sam, a number of advisories to the public about how to respond to this Code Purple Air Quality Day. So we're spending a lot of time educating the public. Like even us, when they told me it was Code Purple, I thought it was getting better. So we're not even used to this language to deal with this type of air quality. I don't know that we've ever experienced it so poorly. So we have advisories out to the public. We also are going to modify some government operations, and we're asking people to take heed. I think the basics of it is if you don't have to be outside, then don't be outside. And if you do need to be outside, to wear a mask and to limit your exposure. But let me, how'd I do? I did okay? All right, good. Let me turn to the team, Chris, Kevin, and talk a little bit about operations.
Yeah, thanks, Sam, for the question. We've been monitoring the air quality index, the AQI, for the last several days from the wildfires in Canada. As you know, yesterday we were in a code red, and today, this morning, we were elevated. As the mayor said, purple is actually worse. And then, so what we've done is, as you know, over the last couple of days, public schools, DCPS, and our schools have canceled all outdoor activities. And the Department of Parks and Recreation has also canceled all of its outdoor activities. We do anticipate that tomorrow we'll have similar conditions based on forecasts from the National Weather Service and our discussions with the Department of Energy and the Environment. Tomorrow night, towards the latter part of the day, the National Weather Service says is that some of the winds that are actually pushing the Canadian wildfire smoke down south to the northeast and the mid-Atlantic will begin to shift. So we do anticipate, and again it's weather, but we do anticipate that by late Friday into Saturday, our air quality will improve significantly.
Could you update us on what the highest level we reached? You said you've been monitoring the AQI.
Maroon would be.
Do you have the actual number?
Yeah, maroon is 300. It's the particulates in the air, 300 or higher, 300 to 500.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. So there's a daily rhythm that Director Rodriguez's agency convenes of agencies, often led by our Department of Energy, the Environment, and DC Health, in the morning and the afternoon to be able to look at what the most current health information is and make operational adjustments. This morning, Dr. Rodriguez talked about some of the actions taken yesterday for schools and rec centers. This morning, we made further modifications based on going into Code Purple, and that is to suspend non-essential outdoor activities for government services. So that primarily includes the DMV inspection station having services suspended, parking enforcement, crossing guards at schools will still be out. They'll be en masse. Outdoor inspections, so our Department of Energy and Environment will do outdoor inspections. They've been rescheduled as well. So as we go through the cycle of morning and afternoon check-ins, we make further adjustments to operations based on the health guidance.
I noticed that when it's cold, you have like basically cooling centers to get people off the streets. What about the homeless? Just curious.
So when we went into COVID a few years ago, we made the decision to keep our homeless facilities open 24/7. So that actually has carried forward when we ended the health emergency. So our shelters are already open 24/7. Our rec centers are available. Workers that work in the field are equipped with masks to be able to allow individuals who are choosing not to come into shelter to be able to stay healthy. And then we check in with those human service agencies twice a day to be able to see other adjustments that we have to make sure everyone stays healthy.
Mayor Bowser.
Yes.
Follow-up question. So in regards to the Alante Scott shooting, it's my understanding that you can just make one call and trigger the release of the MPD footage, and we're going on.
I'm really not prepared to talk to you about any shooting in particular. I'm happy to come back to you, but I can't talk to you about it.
I can talk to Susanna about that, schedule something?
I just told you we can get you some more information.
I appreciate that.
You bet. Yes.
Michael Harrison has just left his job as the Baltimore Police Commissioner. Will you consider him for the DC Police Chief job?
As you know, we are undergoing a very robust interview process. I am delighted with the caliber and number of people who are interested in leading MPD. We will have a teletown hall, June 15th, where we're also going to ask DC residents, businesses, and other stakeholders for information. So we're looking forward to this process progressing. But I won't talk about any one in particular.
Another off topic. Could you clarify we saw the letter, we haven't seen the letter, we've seen the letter reported about whether or not DMV was properly notified by DC Superior Court about the multiple DUI convictions of Nikita Walker, the woman who is now standing trial for the triple fatal on Rock Creek Parkway. At first, your administration testified before council that they were not notified. Now a letter has been sent to council clarifying that, in fact, your administration, DMV, did know, but did not. Well, and this is what I kind of want to know. So if they knew, were proper protocols followed? If not, why not? Why was her license still valid at the time of this deadly crash? And then beyond her, how big a problem is this? Is this an isolated incident? Are people looking into this to figure out how many people have multiple DUI convictions and yet have not had their driver's license privileges suspended?
Sure. So let me be clear about something, Mark. We had a driver with a license, drunk, running from the police that caused a crash that killed 3 people. So I don't want to ever lose the fact of where the culpability for somebody running from the police and crashing into 3 people is. That's exactly where it is with that driver. Should that driver have had a license? If she didn't have a license, would she not have been in that car? No one really knows that, but we do know that she ran from the police at rates of reported over 100 miles an hour and killed 3 people. So I want to be perfectly clear on that. The second thing that I want to be clear on is that the communication between the courts and the DMV, it's my understanding that that issue has been resolved, and that the communication that they intend to send to us is actually being received by us. And so I believe that is fixed. Will we have to figure out when that communication was muddled, if there are other people whose licenses should be revoked? We are doing that work right now.
Well, it doesn't seem like there was a problem. It seems like, I thought the letter acknowledged that they had been properly notified by the court. So the breakdown, I think according to this letter that was recently sent to council, was within the DMV. And so, I mean, and by all accounts, in the court proceedings, Ms. Walker was, other than being out drinking and driving that night, up to that point, had been more than compliant with the terms of her probation, which is why her probation was reduced to unsupervised. So if she had had her license suspended, she may not have been out on that road. And so I'm just wondering.
Mark, I'm not going to go into the what ifs. What I know, this is what I know. She ran from the police at over 100 miles an hour and caused the deaths of 3 people. That's what I know. And so
She should have had a driver's license that night?
she shouldn't have been running from the police at 100 miles per hour and causing the death of 3 people. That is what I know. And so what we will determine is if anybody, her included, shouldn't have their driver's license. And whatever the communication muddle was between the courts and the DMV, my team has assured me is reconciled. Want
Mayor,
to add anything else,
Mayor.
Kevin? Okay.
Hi, Mayor. Has there been an uptick in hospitalizations regarding the air quality at all?
Does anybody have that information?
We had a call this morning with Fire and EMS. We have not seen an uptick in hospitalizations due to air quality concerns.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.